Number one, Warren Moon. Warren, so you're an LA kid. You grew up, what, 20 miles from here.
Yes.
What do you remember when the first time was that you thought, what's going on over there in Pasadena?
Well, I used to watch this game every year when I was a young kid growing up, when I really got into football, probably 11 years old. And I also had an aunt that lived out here that we would come to the actual Rose Bowl parade and sit out on the street, come there at 2 or 3 in the morning, get our little spot, and watch the parade go by. But always went back home to watch the actual game itself. So I was a huge fan of this game. It was the granddaddy of them all at that time. This was the biggest bowl game that there was at that time when I was growing up. So I loved watching it, and always dreamed of maybe getting a chance to play in it one day.
We'll get to that. Now, so you're a lot of USC back then.
A lot of USC, a little bit of Stanford,
Yeah.
some UCLA. That was about it. It was all Southern California. I had never seen a school from the north come down and play in this game. Not when I was growing up.
When you dreamt, like you said, you thought about playing in this game. When you dreamt of playing in it as a young kid, what did those dreams look like?
Well, when I dreamed, it was a dreaming watching the game. I was putting myself out there on the field, with whoever was playing out there. Like I remember whether it was Pat Hayden or whether it was Cornelius Green, the quarterback for Ohio State. I'm watching him. He's an African American, so people that I could kind of relate to. I remember Archie Griffin playing in this game a couple of times, and Ohio State had great teams, Rex Kern, and but like you said, it was a lot of UCLA, a lot of USC, a little bit of Stanford when Jim Plunkett was in it. So all those guys, I kind of put myself in their place as I'm watching the game. What if I was out there doing what they were doing?
When you thought about that, what were you doing?
Starring, throwing the ball all over the place, running the ball all over the place, leading my team, and kind of doing what they were doing, but just kind of putting myself out there the same way. It was, I did that a lot with a lot of pro sports because I was a huge, sport athlete when I was growing up. I played baseball, I played basketball, I played football. So when I'm outside and I'm like playing basketball on a hoop, I'm Chick Hearn. I'm announcing my own games and what I was doing, hitting last-second shots, but it was done by Chick Hearn in my voice. So stuff like that, that's kind of how I grew up with 6 sisters in my house, so it was only me. So a lot of times I was by myself. If I wasn't with a group of friends, it was me by myself, playing with myself. Not playing with myself, but playing, you know what I mean? And whether I was in the yard or outside in this alley by our house, it was me. So I had to kind of create things on my own. I had to use my imagination.
When did that imagination turn into a reality? Do you remember the first time you actually stepped foot in this stadium?
Whew. I think the first time I stepped foot in this stadium, I was in high school. And I came to I think they had a CIF All-Star game. I think I was a junior in high school. And the next time I came here was to actually play in the game in college.
Okay, that's 78, Washington. You come, I want to hear the whole story from where you stayed, the bus ride to the stadium, the locker room, hitting the field, winning the MVP.
Yeah, well, how much time you got?
How much time you got? It's your story.
We stayed way out in Newport Beach when we came out here to play, and we practiced out there. And it was a rainy week, so a lot of different days we practiced I think at Golden West Junior College. We practiced at, I forgot the other junior, Orange Coast Junior College. So we were trying to find dry fields. We were trying to find fields that weren't flooded because for some reason, it seems like it always rains Rose Bowl week every year, but then somehow the day of the game is always beautiful. And it turned out that way with us too. One day we had to practice on a parking lot on asphalt with tennis shoes on because we couldn't find a dry field anywhere. Everything was flooded. So it was quite an adventure for us. Every day we didn't know exactly where we were going to practice before we played, but we always had really good practices once we got out there. And like I said, we were way out in Orange County, and I remember the bus ride in here. It seemed like it took forever to get to the stadium. You know, with the traffic and just the length of the ride, it was probably an hour and a half, almost 2 hour ride on the buses to get from Orange County all the way here. And
on that ride, are you reliving your dreams that you shared with us that you had when you watched the game and you imagined and you called your shot?
No, on that ride, I'm visualizing. I'm visualizing what the game is going to be like. I'm visualizing their defense. They throw this up. What am I going to do? And that's kind of what I did the night before games. And like on a bus ride like that, I had my my playbook in my lap, and I'm kind of flipping through, just kind of going through last minute checkpoints and stuff like that. But yeah, when you have that much time on a bus, I actually took a little nap as well, about a half-hour nap while we were riding. But yeah, you're just trying to visualize what the game is going to be all about and how you're going to react in all those different situations.
Okay, the bus pulls into the lot now. Where's your head at?
Trying to stay level, because now you pull up to the front of this place where you see the big rose up there with the Rose Bowl, and you know you're here. I had just been here a couple of days before for our team picture, because we did come in and do our team picture here, and then left and went back to our hotel to come back for the game. But it wasn't like I hadn't been here. We got a chance to walk around the field during the team picture part and all that, so we got a chance to see everything before we actually got here for real. We went through the locker room, so you always want to go and take your team the day before and kind of go through all those motions, so when everybody gets there, it's not a new experience for them on game day. And it's even more important to do that when you're going to play in the Rose Bowl for the first time.
Okay, game day, now you're running onto the tunnel, onto that field, there's 80,000 people, What do you remember of that moment?
Well, first we had pregame warm-up, so it wasn't as many people there, an hour and a half or so before the game. But boy, oh boy, when we came back out that tunnel, it was me and the three other captains, because I was a captain, and we came out holding hands. And we walked out that tunnel, and I looked into the stands, and all you saw was like 55,000 people in purple. There was 55,000 people in blue, and I almost urinated on myself. I got chills down my body. I got really emotional, and I never let the other captains know that this was happening, and the same thing might have been happening to them. I'm not really sure, but I tried to keep my cool. I was always good about showing I was keeping my cool, and we went out for the coin toss, and again, I'm here. I'm at the Rose Bowl, and now all of a sudden we win the toss, and I got to get it back together because we're getting the ball first. So that whole emotional experience of when I was a young kid growing up, watching this game on TV, dreaming that I was going to play in it, all of a sudden now I'm here and I'm playing in it. So yeah, all that happened to me all at once. It just kind of went over my body. So it was probably one of the most emotional feelings I had felt as a young man at that time in my life.
That's over 40 years ago. Now, your feelings now, talking about it, thinking about it, compared to your feelings there when you're doing it?
Every time I come to this place, and I come here for a lot of different events or whatever it might be, I get the same, not overall emotional feeling that I got that day, but I still get a lot of emotion, a lot of memories come back. And a lot of those memories are very, very positive. So I've been here for like a lot of different games since. I've been to Super Bowls here. I've been to Rose Bowl games that have been played. I've been in this place where I got inducted into the California Hall of Fame. So I've been here enough times, but every time I come back, the memories are so positive about where it all started for me. Because this is kind of where my career took off, Nobody really knew who the University of Washington was at that time. I played up there, I was Pac-8 Player of the Year, but when you play on that stage in the biggest game of the college football season, because there was no BCS championship or anything like that, it was bowl games and who had the biggest bowl game. And this one always had the biggest TV audience. It was played at the perfect time of the day where the sun's going down, and by the time the game is over, the lights are on. It's just perfect. And so I got a chance to do that and be the MVP of that game too, and then win and beat a team that was supposed to beat us by 17 points. you couldn't ask for a better day. And that put not only me, but it put our whole program on the map at that time. And our recruiting took off, and next thing you know, Don James became one of the great coaches in college football during that 20-year period.
If somebody said, hey, we want to take a moment from that game, a play, a moment, whatever, and put it in a Warren Moon Rose Bowl 78 time capsule, is there a moment, a play that you'd say that's it?
I think our first drive when we went down and scored, and I scored the first touchdown of the game. It was like a play action bootleg where I come out to the left side and I'm looking to throw the football, but I also have the option to run, and I ended up running it in from like 3 yards out for this opening score of the game. And the momentum of our football team, it just gave us great confidence that we jumped ahead of a Michigan football team early, and we just rode that confidence the rest of the way. We came in as a team that felt really disrespected, that nobody was giving us a chance to win, and we kind of used that chip the whole time we were down here, and it really brought us together as a football team throughout that week we were here, just because of everything that we were hearing. When we went to Disneyland, both teams were there. Their quarterback, Rick Leach, he refused to shake my hand and take a picture, and all those different things just played a part in motivating our team to win the game.
Well, do you have like out of body experience? Like, does it become surreal? Like when you're scoring that first touchdown, is it out of a movie? You're having everything back to when you were a kid, and here I am. I've just scored this touchdown, but I've got to stay within myself.
That's what you had to do. You had to make sure you stayed within yourself, because you didn't want to get yourself too out of hand, too out of keel, because there's still a lot of football game left to play. Okay, you're ahead now. Now what are you going to do now? You can't lay an egg after going ahead in this football game. So our defense right away, they knew that what they had to do in order to stop Michigan's running game, and we knew what we had to do offensively. We had to be a little bit more aggressive than we had been throughout most of the season. So we did a lot of different things that we hadn't done throughout the year. We had a fake punt in the game, and we made a huge play off that. We did a lot more play action pass where everybody thought we were going to be more of our basic offense. So Coach James kind of let things fly a little bit in that football game, something that he wasn't used to, because he was a guy that was so structured in what we did. But he knew what he had to do that day in order to beat a team like Michigan. You had to go against the grain sometimes and do some things that weren't part of your character.
What's it like to be a spectator at this game or at a Super Bowl, at the Rose Bowl, especially after you've been a player on the field?
It's a lot more relaxing, a lot less nerve-wracking. And again, when I watch games here, even though I played in the game, I'm always comparing our game to what I'm watching. I still think, like when we played, I think there was over 100,000 people here. I don't think they have that many here anymore. I think they've cut down on the capacity a little bit. But this is a magical game no matter who's in it, and no matter what their records are or anything like that. Again, a lot of it has to do with what time the game is played. It seems like it's always a beautiful 72-degree sunny day, no matter what happened throughout the week. And the games are always usually pretty competitive here. The Rose Bowls that I've come to watch, or the ones I've watched on television, they always seem to come down, to the final drive or whatever. I remember one year it was Penn State USC, and I left a little bit early, and Penn State was ahead, and USC came back with Sam Darnold, and he made some big plays at the end, and they ended up winning that game at the end while I'm getting on the freeway, because this is not an easy place to get out of after the game is over. So I wanted to beat the traffic because I didn't have any skin in the game. My team wasn't playing, but the fact that I was here at the Rose Bowl and I just watched the whole spectacle of the game and the halftime and the pageantry of the game beforehand, all that is something I love watching every time I come back here.
Well, they talk about reverence for this place. What's that mean to you?
I think it's just history and tradition of this place. I think there's so much of that goes along with coming back here every year, and the thing I like is it's not always the same teams every year anymore. Now you see more of a mixture of teams coming back here where, like you said, back in the day when I was young growing up, it was SC or UCLA, it seemed like all the time. It was always Michigan or Ohio State all the time.
America's Stadium. The first time you heard the Rose Bowl Stadium called that, what'd you think?
It was appropriate. I really thought it was appropriate because so much is played here. So much of all of around America, just like I talked about, there's not 2 or 3 different teams that are here all the time. There's teams from all over the country that have played here. I remember Washington played at the University of Iowa. Penn State has been out here. Michigan, Ohio State, Wisconsin. I mean, there's schools from all over the country that come and play in this game. So that's an appropriate name, America's team or America's Stadium.
Bigger. What's this place not just mean to Los Angeles? You grew up here, but to the country's sports and entertainment as a whole.
I think when you come here from wherever you come from to watch a game, it's definitely a cultural experience for you. It's something that you're going to remember. That's why I think there's certain iconic stadiums around this country, and this being one of the main ones, that have to make sure that they're taken care of and kept up to par, because when people watch a game in here, they remember this for years and years and years to come. Like me, I'm in my 60s. I played in this game when I was 21, but I remember it like it was yesterday because of the whole surroundings of everything. And I can tell you all the games that I've almost witnessed here. I can remember, what happened in those games, and this is one of those iconic places that those types of memories happen. So you want to make sure those types of stadiums, like this one, like University of Michigan, or a lot of other different iconic stadiums around the country, University of Alabama or LSU, places like that. Those games have meaning not only just because of the game itself, but the memories that they bring back for you years and years later.
How did playing football shape your work ethic? How did it make you the man that you were, the man that you are?
I try and tell young people all the time when I talk to them about football, you might not become a pro football player, but if you play the game of football when you're a young kid growing up, I don't know how early, maybe 10, 11 years old, or all the way through high school or whatever, you learn so many valuable lessons playing this game, that are going to help you in life. First of all, in football, you get knocked down, and you got to get back up. A lot of people get knocked down, they don't want to get back up. And football makes you do that over and over and over again. And like I said, sometimes people get tired of getting knocked down and they want to give it up. But the people who usually fight through all of that, somewhere in life, if they don't play any more football, they're going to get knocked down in some form of their life, whether it's a relationship or a job or something. You're going to get knocked down. But that football mentality is going to come back to you, and you're going to get back up, and you're going to go after it again. And that's one of the most important things I think you learn out of this game is how to overcome adversity, how to overcome tough hurdles and things like that. You also learn sportsmanship. You learn playing together as a team. You learn goal setting. All those different things that go along with playing football are going to help you in life no matter what you decide to do, even if you don't go any further playing this game. So I think it's one of the great sports that there are because of, first, what I talked about is getting knocked down and getting back up, because that's going to happen throughout your life. And it's how do you deal with that? How do you deal with getting knocked down?
We're sitting in the room of the California High School Football Hall of Fame. You're a member. We're at the Rose Bowl. You're in the Rose Bowl Hall of Fame. I'm guessing you're in the Washington Hall of Fame. Today, or recently, you were inducted in the Houston Hall of Fame. Could 11-year-old Warren Moon ever dreamt what happened to now 60-something-year-old Warren Moon?
No way, no how, no. I played sports mainly because my mother put me in sports, because I grew up in a house where my dad passed when I was 7. I had 6 sisters and a mom. So it's me with all these women. So she put me in sports to get me around other boys and to get me around men and mentors. in my life. And a lot of my coaches became my mentors or father figures to me. And so when I got involved in sports, I loved them. I didn't know which one I was going to be best at. Basketball was my favorite. Baseball was one I was probably best at. But it was something that drew me to football as far as the quarterback position and the leadership that went along with it. People relying on you to be the guy to make the big play at the big time. And then I was talented that way. I had a very good arm when I was a young kid and good enough athlete to play that position. So there was a lot of reasons why I ended up playing the football position. I had to pick one sport when I got to high school because I had to work the other times of the year. So I played football and had a part-time job to help my mother with everything that was going around the house. But I never thought I would get this far into it. You know, I don't think if you asked any guys, there might be a couple out there, maybe a Deion Sanders or somebody that's ultra confident. Oh yeah, I knew I was going to be a Hall of Famer one day. Most guys don't even think about what the Hall of Fame is when they start playing the game, you know. And I remember when I started playing, I looked at Hall of Famers as like they were gods or something, you know, like a Roger Staubach or a Terry Bradshaw or, you know, Gale Sayers or Jim Brown. I mean, those people are like untouchable to me. That's the way I looked at them when I was playing pro ball. Even as a pro, I looked at them like that. So you just never know what's going to happen to you as your career progresses. And once I got towards the end of my career, people started saying maybe you had an opportunity to be a Hall of Famer, and I'm like, really? So you don't start out with that. You start out just trying to get there. You hope one day when pro football becomes a goal of yours that you are actually able to make it to that. But it doesn't even become a goal of mine until maybe my junior year in college. You know, so yeah, this is so far-fetched from what I ever thought when I started playing sports to get to this plateau, and that's why I feel so proud of what I've been able to accomplish in my life.
All right, last one. Bradshaw said once, if you close your eyes, you can listen to this place and it talks to you. You've been here enough times. I'm not going to ask you to close your eyes, but if this place is talking to Warren Moon, what's it saying?
It's saying that I'm glad you had a chance to experience what the Rose Bowl is all about, because I know as a young kid growing up, you fantasized playing in this thing and you finally got a chance to do it, and you played it as well as anybody played it on that particular day, and you have those experiences for the rest of your life.
Good stuff, man. Wonderful. Thanks. Yeah, thanks for sharing.